Now let me show you how you can prepare cacao in various ways. First of all, you'll need your cacao. So if you're lucky, you can jump the first step, because if your cacao is crumbly and full of bloom, it'll easily crumble in your cup. If it is a bit harder and not yet bloomed, well then it is time to chop your cacao. Finally, the finer it is, the better, at least unless you're using a traditional blender. Not a traditional blender, and a modern blender, then of course bigger chunks are better, but still I do like to recommend finely chopping the cacao to connect with the plant, as well as to give in your intention and pour in that intention. If you want to add other plants, you might want to have them prepared too. I do love using vanilla, which is also a traditional combination of cacao and vanilla in a beverage. It's a fermented plant as well, and adds an amazing flavor to the cacao. We've got cayenne or chili as a wonderful addition. If you don't like your cacao pure and bitter, such as I do, this is just the wonderful pure cacao with water. This is literally just cacao and water, and I've done this in the previous video when I tried it first with just my handheld pot. So this is what I'm going to show you, how easy to make this is. So yeah, but if it's too bitter and too pure, feel free to sweeten your cacao, preferably with unprocessed sugar such as coconut sugar or your local honey. First thing, what you'll need is, after chopping the cacao, or while chopping the cacao, you might want to have your hot water ready. By boiling the kettle whilst chopping cacao, it has the chance to cool down a little. If the hot water, if you don't have the time and you're not heating it slowly on the stove, and the kettle is boiling hot, you can just add some cold water, fresh cold water with it, so that it cools down, because you want to avoid mixing cacao with overly hot water. So it shouldn't be boiling, it should preferably be between 50 degrees to like 80 degrees maximum, such as you would use for white or green tea. So the easiest version would be to stir. If you only have a cup, you put your cacao in the cup and stir it with a spoon. I will demonstrate this with this pot. So we put our cacao into the pot. See some of the pre-chopped really fine cacao, and pour just the tiniest amount of water on it, just a sip, and then stir it. What happens is that the cacao combines with the hot water into a chocolatey paste. You can also, if you have one, you can also use a whisk, which creates foamier bubbles and is a bit quicker. I love the small whisk because it's easy to travel with. And once the cacao is combined and you can see a paste forming, you might want to add sip by sip more water. Just sip by sip. Keep stirring or whisking. And continue like this. This is one version. You can do exactly the same thing with a matcha bowl and a matcha whisk, if this is all you've got at home. The beautiful thing about the matcha whisk is as well, it's not metal, so that might be a wonderful reason for you to use also a ceramic bowl and a bamboo or wooden whisk instead of a metal one. Talking about wooden whisks, this is a traditional device that most likely has been used by the Mexica and modified by the Spaniards. So we don't know if the all the Mayans really had such a whisk. But we do know that they used a certain tool to beat the cacao and make it foamy, which wouldn't have had these decorative rings because they are more following the form than the function. However, if you get your hands on a molinillo, or you've been trained, or you've been curious about that method, you use it in between both of your hands. And kind of like if you want to light a fire, move the whisk in between. And obviously you do that in the pot that you make cacao with. So wonderful, beautiful device. It takes some time and it takes some effort, but that's also part of the preparation of cacao, which is very beautiful. A quick and easy to-go version would be using a to-go cup. So basically we would do exactly the same. Fill the cup with cacao first, and then with water. And if you have, they're really easy to get on the internet, metal whisk ball. These are basically like a metal whisk, but like a normal, like this one, just in a different form. And you can put that in here with cacao and water, close the lid and shake. And the more you shake, the better the results, the more foamier your cacao gets. You can also do this in a classic Thermos flask. Put the cacao in and the water and shake, shake, shake. And then of course we have the blender, which you can use. It is a bit more of a modern thing, of course, but it doesn't keep you from putting in your intention. It doesn't keep you from singing to the cacao while it's boring. And my mother, for example, she uses this blending stick. That's her method. So she puts her cacao in a small pot or in a big cup and then blends it with that. So whatever you prefer, whatever you have available. And now, how will I make this cacao more foamy? Well, let me show you. I'll just put a bit more in here, more crumbly cacao, and a bit more hot water. And as I said, of course, you can use the whisk to combine it, but one of my favorite methods when I'm on the road and in an Airbnb, for example, and I find a French press or a milk frother. So this one is a milk frother in particular, but for those coffee fans amongst you, you will know what a French press is, or like a coffee press. It basically, you put the coffee in the hot water and then you press it down and it filters it. So with that device, you can literally shake up the cacao. So you press this sieve that usually filters the coffee through, foams up the cacao as it would do with milk. So this, like I said, is originally a milk frother. Of course, there are also electric milk frothers, those tiny ones that are long, and you put them in and you have them with batteries. Yeah, you can use those too. And there we go. Beautiful frothy cacao. And that, of course, we pour in our cup. And enjoy. If you come up with more exciting, creative ways to prepare cacao, please let me know and share with us.